Back in 1994, I remember opening up issue 11 of the official Sega magazine, making my way past the competition on page 68 talking about worms bumping uglies. Nope, I'm not joking. To page 70 where they claimed that there was a hidden character called Rankles in my all-time favourite video game Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Yeah. Turns out that was all a lie, that I spent way too much of my time trying to uncover. Another ridiculous lie came from the magazine Electronic Gaming Monthly, talking about the secret character in Mortal Kombat named Ermac. But again, was it real? Of course not. It was yet again completely made up. It's funny to look back at these hoaxes nowadays because before the days of the internet, they were far more believable than they had any right to be. Nowadays, the closest we have is a fake leak saying, I don't know, Bubsy's coming to Fortnite. And after a quick Google search, it's obvious that that's not true. Debunked in about a minute. But back in the 80s and 90s, we spent weeks, possibly even months between issues of our favourite gaming magazines, trying to unlock the unlockable, all because a bunch of bored writers fancied playing a trick on their entire subscriber fan base. Which brings us to today's video. We're going to be talking about the greatest, the most frustrating, and the most stupid playground rumours put to print. And look, let's not point fingers because this first segment absolutely did trick me back in the day, and yeah, it's a little embarrassing. Look, before we get into this segment, let me just state that the year was 1997 and I was 13 years old in 1997. And what do all young 13-year-old boys think about more than anything else? That's right, Tazos. Okay, not just Tazos. It's easy and scary to forget, but in 1997 the internet was not readily available to the average household, which meant finding material to entertain your young 13-year-old self wasn't exactly easy to come by. And because of this, you just made do with what you had. Well, thankfully for my younger self, and I'm guessing a whole lot of other people in the exact same space that had a copy of Tomb Raider, issue 185 from April 1997 of Computer and Video Games gave us that cheat. Yes, that cheat. Here's what it said. Yes, there is a code to play as a totally nud Lara Croft. We didn't believe it either, but having tried this sensational cheat, we know it works, and boy, is it steamy. The information revealed to us by an anonymous source who we can't name for their own safety works on all versions of the game, PlayStation, Saturn, and PC. But don't take our word for it, try the cheat for yourself. Tap out the rhythm on a second joypad. It's tricky to get the right beat, but we found using the first verse of the Spice Girls tune Wannabe as a guide. While they're doing this, you have to make Lara dance to the beat, sidestepping left and right. Works fine, but adding tumbles and jumps speeds up the process, and after roughly 2 minutes, disco lights appear and Lara starts dancing by herself. Then the screen goes black, and when she reappears, she's completely starkers. Now, looking back, I'm going to be kind to my cripplingly embarrassed 13-year-old self. I probably always knew that this was a hoax. But did that stop me from trying this? Obviously not. Just think about the sheer cruelty of this. You got thousands of teenage lads quietly sneaking into their younger sister's bedroom to steal their copy of Spice, putting it in their Amstrad hi-fi systems, and then spending hours upon hours furiously tapping their controller to the beat of "Tell me what you want, what you really, really want," only to be left with never getting what they wanted, what they really, really wanted. Besides a deep sense of personal shame, of course. With all of that said, this cheat code got so out of hand and so widely well known that the original developers of the original game would constantly get asked, why did you add that cheat code to a game that kids play? And then they would have to go on the defensive and say, we didn't, it's a hoax. But even though it was embarrassing for the devs, the management absolutely loved it. There are even rumours that the top dogs tried their best to include a slightly less but similar risque cheat code to later releases, which the art team simply refused to do. And even though it was used to help market future games in the series, the best or worst, depending on how you look at it, came unofficially on PC before being taken down via a cease and desist, and obviously has now become such a thing of legend, you can guarantee that every single future Tomb Raider game would get an unofficial patch to do this exact thing. And look, to all of you hairy-palmed 13-year-old lads from 1997, you've only got a few years to wait before the internet becomes available. Then you can really fill your boots. Hey, what the? Subscribing? I wonder if that can provide faster nudity. Contra fans, ever played Blazing Squad, My Friend Pedro, Hunt Down, or Guns, Gore and Cannoli 2? Zelda fans, ever played The Spirit and the Mouse, The Plucky Squire, Death's Door, or Lil Gator game? And what about you Streets of Rage fans? Ever played Karate Survivor, Blasphemous, Streets of Rage 4, or Final Vendetta, a game with the greatest soundtrack since the last Streets of Rage game? Well, lucky for you, every game I just showed off and every game you see on the screen is less than just a few quid. You can play all of these games for less than a few quid. Thank you to everybody who has been supporting the show and doing that exact thing by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen or clicking the link below and buying these and plenty of other games with massive discounts. All thanks to this channel's sponsor, Instant Gaming. Once again, just scan that QR code on the screen or click that link in the bio, make your way over to the site, hit that search bar, click Advanced Search, drag that price bar all the way down to the desired amount and find a whole heap of classic, retro and indie style games for the same price as something off the McDonald's saver menu. And of course, there's plenty of newer games that are available too. Games like Escape the Backrooms, IGN's Game of the Year mixtape, if anyone out there wants to play that. Or what about the brand new James Bond 007 games? There really is so much to choose from. Whatever you decide to get by clicking that link or scanning the QR code, not only will you most likely find your games a whole lot cheaper, but you will be supporting this show too. Thank you all so much for your support, and thank you Instant Gaming for the long time sponsorship. But for now, let's get back to the show. Okay, so I've already talked about Rankles, the otter apparently, the hidden character from Sonic & Knuckles that the writers at the official Sega magazine hyped up so much that they even offered a hefty reward if you found him. Well, in later issues, some readers thought that they actually did find him by going into debug mode and messing around putting Knuckles under the water, which changed his colour slightly. They believed that they found him, but obviously that £1 million reward was never paid because, again, it was all a hoax. But let's give the writers at these magazines a quick break for this particular segment and look at a rumour that, yes, did come from the magazines, but this time it wasn't actually their fault. This time, the magazines were just reporting the facts. The problem was, those facts changed by the time the game came out. I am of course talking about the holy grail of Mega Drive cut content, Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now before Sonic 2 was released to the masses in November 1992, the hype machine was in overdrive. To build anticipation, Sega sent out early work-in-progress preview builds to various gaming magazines, the press excitedly booted up their Mega Drives, played the beta, and took heaps of screenshots to print in their upcoming issues. Across dozens of publications, kids saw glorious full-colour images of a level that looked completely unlike anything else in the game. It was a beautiful underground cavern featuring glowing neon bridges, glowing water drops and robotic dinosaur badniks. It looked incredible. But when the final release of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Sonic Tuesday was released, that level was nowhere to be found. Sega had simply run out of time and cartridge space, and because of this the level was left on the cutting room floor. But of course, the magazines had already shipped, the screenshots were out there, and because gamers had literally seen physical photographic proof that Hidden Palace Zone existed, the playground rumour mill went into absolute overdrive. It had to be hidden in this game somewhere. And for whatever reason, the community all collectively decided that they knew exactly where this hidden entrance was. If you make your way to the horrifically annoying Spike Pit in Mystic Cave Zone Act 2, unlike virtually all other areas of the original trilogy and Knuckles and CD, if you fall in, you'll find yourself in a completely inescapable pit of death right near the end of the level. You simply just have to sit there and wait it out, either that or jump on the spikes and kill yourself. Honestly, having this hedgehog fall down into a pit that he can't get out of, Robotnik was never more intelligent than he was right here, just simply digging down throughout the entirety of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Well, either way, rumours began to spread that the pit wasn't a trap, but a gateway. Kids swore blind that if you jumped into the pit as Super Sonic, or if you had exactly 50 rings, or if you pressed a specific button combination on your way down, the spikes would vanish and you would drop down into Hidden Palace Zone. Countless lives, millions of them probably, were thrown into that pit by desperate kids hoping to uncover the biggest secret in Sonic history to date. But with that, as all of you Sonic fans will know, this story does have a happy ending. The legend of Hidden Palace Zone was so massive, so ingrained in retro gaming history, that when the time came to properly remaster Sonic 2 for modern devices in 2013, the development team led by legendary Christian Whitehead decided to right this historic wrong. They dug up the original concepts, finished coding the level, added a brand new boss fight and officially integrated it into the game. And the way you access it, you jump straight down into that inescapable spike pit in Mystic Cave Zone. Over 2 decades later, the greatest playground rumour of the 16-bit era had officially become a reality. Right, I know what you're all thinking. You want something a bit more obscure than Sonic and Lara Croft, right? Well, here's your obligatory British home computer game to add to the list. Let's wind those clocks back to my birth year of 1983. Back, obviously, before games like GoldenEye and Banjo-Kazooie created by Rare, the Stamper Brothers were then known as Ultimate Play the Game, and they absolutely dominated on the ZX Spectrum. One of their biggest hits was Lunar Jetman, a notoriously difficult sequel to the smash hit Jetpack. In this game, Jetman had a moon buggy to drive across the lunar surface, but players immediately noticed 2 very distinct things. Firstly, the game's iconic loading screen clearly depicted the buggy towing a large trailer. And secondly, the actual in-game pixel sprite for the buggy had what many believed to be a tow hitch right on its back. I mean, personally, you really got to use your imagination because I don't see it. Either way, the game required you to transport a massive bomb to destroy alien bases. Players logically assume that the trailer was hidden somewhere on the procedurally scrolling map to make carrying the bomb easier. Kids spent countless hours scouring the alien landscape, but nobody could find that trailer. That was until the legendary British ZX Spectrum magazine Crash poured a whole lot of fuel on the fire. After reporting multiple times that it was not achievable, in February 1986 they published a supposedly reader-submitted photograph showing a CRT TV screen with the game running, and the moon buggy successfully hooked up to the elusive trailer. This sent Spectrum gamers into an absolute frenzy. Now there's actual photographic proof in Crash magazine. This had to be real, right? Nope. It was, of course, complete rubbish. Decades later, when the retro gaming community began using emulators and code sleuths were able to completely disassemble the game's code, they proved once and for all that the trailer just simply did not exist. There was absolutely zero graphics or sprites for it hidden in the game's memory, meaning that the screenshot in Crash was a complete hoax. In fact, it is a widely accepted theory within the retro community that Ultimate Play the game themselves mocked up this fake image and then sent it into the magazine just to generate playground buzz and keep the kids playing their game years after it was released. And I mean, if that is true, it's hard to deny the absolute genius here. We already touched on AirMac earlier on in the video, but those who need a quick refresher, back on the original Mortal Kombat arcade cabinets, players poking around the game's internal diagnostics menu noticed a counter for AirMacs right underneath Reptile Battles. Naturally, kids assumed that this was a secret Red Ninja character, but in reality, it simply stood for Error Macros, a basic coding term used to catch system crashes. It was a completely unintentional playground rumour that Midway eventually leaned into by making AirMac an actual real character in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. But while AirMac was an accidental legend born from a menu screen that Electronic Gaming Monthly definitely encouraged, that original Mortal Kombat was also the victim of a very intentional, highly orchestrated hoax. And once again, the culprits were the absolute menaces back over at Electronic Gaming Monthly. In their March 1994 issue 56, yep, those same guys that showed proof of AirMac's existence was at it again. Yet again, they had a detailed article showing off a brand new, fully playable character, this time supposedly hidden inside the Mega Drive / Genesis version of the game. They printed what looked like legitimate screenshots of a kickboxer smashing the head off of an opponent, as well as punching down with what looked like red boxing gloves. To unlock this one, players were told that they had to play on the pit stage, wait for Reptile to drop down and say his famous clue, "Look to La Luna," and then punch in a ridiculously precise sequence of button presses to trigger the secret character. Sega gamers no doubt spent days looking at the moon and then just smashing buttons on their controller to absolute dust. But if anyone had just paid a little bit more attention in their school English and science classes, they would have realised that they were being completely trolled. The entire joke was baked right into the character's name. Nimbus refers to a dark cloud, Terror means Earth, and Forks literally translates to fake. EGM had literally sent kids on a wild goose chase looking for a character named Fake Earth Cloud. The screenshots were completely fabricated by the magazine staff, proving once again that in the 90s, EGM's April Fool's jokes were an absolute force of nature. Take it from me, Mr. Nimbus does not exist. Hey there guys, thanks for checking out the video. This is the part of the video where I give a massive shout out to all of my supporters, all of my YouTube members, all of my patrons, all of these names that you see down here that support the show and allow me to make this video every single week. Well, not this particular video, all of my videos, whatever video I release one pretty much every week, and it's because of these awesome people down here. And this is the part of the video where I give a shout out to all of them, but an extra big shout out going to Akatimo84, Andrew Dalton, Aaron, Bran Perez, British video game nerd, Caroline, Stephen, Chevmatic, Chris aka Brackman, Conrad Constantine, The Action Saxon, Dina81, Derekuda, Enraged Gecko, Ian Qual, Insidious Bliss, Jay's Manchild, Jabba Al Aiden, Jeff Mianowski, Keiju Samurai 1985, Kumatura Villarreal, Livestream again, Mass Replay, Mike Fallon, Mind of the Unsane, Nicholas Bertner, Patrick Grip Jansen, Paul Float, Richard Aldrich, Shadow Dragon, Stephen Hefner, Swift Justice Peterson, The Sneaky Ferret, Thomas Coyote Baxter, Vitus Varnes, Vike Echo, XZX, and Ye Old Hamburglar. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It is very much appreciated. It is a crazy time at Slopes HQ right now. Yeah, just working on a lot of videos. I'll leave it there because I was about to say what I'm working on, but I actually can't on one of those because yeah, I'm actually contractually cannot tell you what I'm working on for one of those videos. But yeah, there's plenty of others that I'm working on all the time. It never stops here, and it's because of these awesome people that basically keep the lights on. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. Please hit subscribe if you're unable to join the Patrons and YouTube memberships. That is without a doubt the most important thing. And guys, until next time, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. I just saw myself in the viewfinder and I'm not wearing the correct hat. Whatever, it's done. Much love, guys. Bye-bye.